Well, hello folks, I'm LA Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap, where we take a look at these markets, and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. Each time we're asking ourselves what happened today, what does it tell us about the coming ones? Do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. It's under the channel LA Little. If you haven't subscribed, you want to, just reach up there in the right-hand corner, hit the subscribe button. Anytime I push content, you'll get a notification. And I don't push just this content. There's also some cradle-to-grave trades we're pushing now. Trades that are available to members live as trades take place. Those members, of course, can make those trades along with me, but they're also educational, and we're starting to release those here on the front page so that you can see how they work. So if you're interested, just pop over here. Here's the first one we've released, the second day of it, the third day of it. And we continue those trades until they finish up. So you can see how we make the trades here at TA Today. As far as what happened today, let's take a look at the numbers. So on the S&P 500, if we bring this over here so we can see it all, we had a push up in the indexes by the end of the day. You know, it was up 0.25% on the S&P. The Russell was the leader all day, up 1%. All having another good day. Let me see USO up here, 1.5% on it. West Texas Intermediate trying to break swing point high. That pushed bank stocks higher across the board. Bank stocks being a major component of the Russell, pushed the Russell higher, and the Russell was the leader on the way up. If you look across the boards, equities up pretty much everywhere. They're trying to push them higher, but they're coming right up into stiff resistance just overhead, and we'll look at that tonight. As far as today, yeah, you got some of that extension we were thinking might come. I think you're going to get a little bit more extension tomorrow, and the reason for that is Europe. Europe looks like it's going to extend a bit more. So let's go take a look at the charts. And we'll start it there in Europe, where the DAX is pushing up towards a swing point high. Looks as if the attempt here is to get to the swing point high. I think we talked about that last night. And so when we look at it, right, that swing point high is here. That's the push. Just above it is going to be the next swing point low. So that's the bearish retest regenerate. Coincides with another swing point high. If we get over this swing point high and can continue, right, that would be the target. And just like we see in the domestic markets, we've got ABCD structures to try to get us up into that level, right? To try to get us up into that bearish retest regen. So the swing point high, just like it was on the NASDAQ, the NDX, and the Russell this week, on the DAX is to get over that swing point high. France, the CACs, already got over it. They get over it today, swing point high. They break it, and you get a trend change there tomorrow. It's coming into the bottom of the swing point low. 44.72, price point high today was 44.48. That's going to, stretch up into that tomorrow as the DAX tests that swing point high. That's going to be the test here, and we'll see if in fact it can get over it, and or get into it, not over it. And let me make certain that this is the break, 44.22, and yeah, we're over that, so just barely. So you get the break, swings higher. Let's go over and look at the Swiss market. If we look at the Swiss, now the Swiss, of course, have a different scenario than most in that they're still fighting a currency that's still higher comparative to the euro. Euro is benefiting from that cheaper currency. Swiss can't really get going as a result. They're doing the bearish retest regenerate now. If we were to extend these and say, okay, where can they go? Right, on their ABCD structure, if they can get it going, right, they would try to do the same thing everybody else has done, which is to push to the next bearish retest regen zone. But they've got a long way to go, and you can see just how weak this market is comparatively, as that first swing point high is up there at the retest regen at the higher levels. So the Swiss market struggling to get over and push higher. They're over that swing point high today. Let's see here. That number is 7996, and they close it at
actually at 80.39, so they're easily over it today. And so you got the swing point break. You're doing the full retest regen on that swing point low, and that looks like it's a little bit higher up, about another 30 points. And so that's going to be the test there in the Swiss market. While I'm here, I'm going to take a quick look at my friends up north in Canada. They've been getting a nice push. They had some GDP numbers that looked a little bit better this week, and they've got their little ABCD structure going. They got over their swing point low. It looks like it's going to push up into that next high, or at least try to. And if I pull it over here, not nearly as bullish looking when you look at it on the weekly, but they're not into the thick of the resistance quite yet. And swinging over into Australia, my friends there looking for a swing point high. All these markets pretty much doing the same thing. They're either just getting over a B point or trying to, and they're trying to get over swing point highs. Lastly, I'll take a quick look at India, the friends over there. Now, India was kind of interesting. It had this huge volume spurt for some reason, almost like a blow-off type bottom, and then reversed pretty hard to the top side. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Trying to get back to the swing point lows. So, Asia in general struggling. And the last one we should probably look at while we're there is the Hong Kong market, where we were saying they were going to get to that swing point high. Well, they just blew past it last night. Volume escalation. I don't know if that's short covering or what it is, but it's going after the next one. Probably will try to touch it tonight. In general, though, Asia, much more of a struggle. You can see it here on the weekly. That's the swing point low it's going to try to go into as it gets into that high on the daily. In Europe, not nearly as bad, but coming up into resistance. And if we span back over to the US, what you see here is the S&P 500. Now remember, we got over that swing point high a little bit ago, right? 3-4 days ago. It looks like 4 days, 5 days back, this bar. As we did it, right, we got the big push day before yesterday, and that was a reversal when I thought we were trying to roll back over. If you remember, I missed that call. Had to flip around intraday myself and get long. The push up, right, now it's coming into another swing point high. It's already got a sideways move. Now it's trying to go bullish. Top of this bar, this is the breakdown. 1985.32. It trades to 1986. So you get over it. Now you're going to come into the big retest regen zone. And so big fast push to the top side. Stretching up. 93 is the number. You're only 7 points away. At this point, you have to think they're going to get into it, whether they do it tomorrow or they do it Friday. You got the employment number on Friday. You got the ECB next week. Looks to me like they're going to stretch up in there, try to test it, probably bounce down, and then try to crawl back up there for the ECB potentially. If we look at the NASDAQ, right, which has been weaker, the NASDAQ gets over the swing point high yesterday. That's a trend change. It goes into the top of this bar today, 47.13, almost 47.14, closes at 47.03. So it's going to try to attack that area tomorrow. And that's a natural area that you're going to see some resistance. So I suspect, tomorrow here in the S&P 500 and here in the NASDAQ, where you have the exact same setup, 43.59 is that high. You barely closed out positive today. That's another 25 points higher, but you can see that same sort of resistance in that area, trying to get into it. And then finally, if you look at the Russell, we were talking about the Russell at the top of the show being the strongest. Russell stretches right up into the bottom of this bar. That's a 1063.84. You close it at 65, so you're into that bar. Russell, on the strength of the oil and the banking sector, I wanted to show you this. The Russell has pushed up. You got an ABCD structure here, and the Russell is just about completed it. So the Russell pushing to the projection, S&P 500 pushing to the retest regen zone, where it's more than 6 bars, where it should fail. NASDAQ into that congestion, as is the NDX. GDAX going up to hit its swing point high. All of those coming simultaneously says, yeah, you can get a little bit more push, and then you're going to get some pull. That's it for tonight. I'll catch you tomorrow. We'll take a look at it again. Employment number on Friday is going to be a big number again. ADP came out today. That was putting some juice into this market early, and I think that number is going to be a big deal. But the big deal really is the oil market, and where does it go as it tries to break a swing point high on the West Texas Intermediate Continuous contract. That's going to be a key, as is the employment on Friday. I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll look at how that's going to lay out, and we'll take it from there. I'll see you then. Thanks. Good night.